How's it going, guys? So, as you can see, this is taking up most of the frame, and this is a ruck that is, I think, for the most part, the only one of its kind in existence. I've made this myself. I've collected all the pieces and did all the work. I affectionately call it the MOLLE 2K because it's a MOLLE 2 bag. But but yeah, I thought I'd take some time to talk about it right now and let you know like how I put it together, my experience with it, and why I chose to do something like this instead of just buying an off the shelf ruck. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into that. Okay, so as you can see, considering it's taking up most of the screen, this is still packed from a 10 to 14 day fill problem we did. It included like some Calfex and then some force on force stuff. It was going to be anywhere from 10 to 14 days, ended up being 10 days. So I figured while I had this packed up, I would just go ahead and talk about it, considering I've been meaning to do that for so long. So the main bag itself, this right here, is an OCP MOLLE 2 ruck. I got this surplus for like $80 shipped, so really like $70, maybe a little bit less than that, maybe like 68 or something like that before shipping, 69. So I've had the main bag for a while. I got it pretty cheap because it has a tear down in the sleep system area. Um, Originally, my first contract, this is what I was issued. I was issued uh, a UCP MOLLE 2 ruck, and then I managed to snag an OCP MOLLE 2 ruck that I ended up having to give back to the guy when I got out, and I really liked it. I like how barrel shaped the main bag is, and I like the ability. It's got an internal divider in it uh, towards the lower third, and it's a like two flaps and a zipper. You zip them together, and it'll hold stuff above the lower compartment, like the lower third of the bag, which has its own zipper. You can zip it open, and I use that for my sleep system. Um, right now in there, I have a M81 poncho with a like the new issue full winter sleep system. I didn't end up needing it for the most part. I got too warm out there, except for like one night. But I mean, hey, I, sometimes you just got to send it, right? So it fits all that super well. It fits it better when it's not mounted to the side of a vehicle, but that's like a whole different problem. When it's laying down properly, like on the ground, like it should be, like an actual infantryman using his ruck, it's super easy to fit everything in and out. And then up in the top here, uh, past where this is my sleep pad, which I also really didn't need. But when it's rocky out there, it's nice to have a little bit of extra padding. I've got clothes for 2 weeks, and I also fit some snacks like some noodles, some candy, some Pop Tarts, and a big thing of Monsters, which you saw me take a picture of if you follow me on Instagram. All right, coming to this is the right side when you're wearing it. This is a USGI 200 round uh, MOLLE pouch. Right now, what do I have in here? I've got a cleaning kit and my little cooking pot with its little stove shoved in it. I got a MSR one. It's pretty good. And then this down here, this actually I got from a buddy. He sent me like a bunch of stuff that he didn't need. Super great guy. I wish I could talk about him, but he's like a real life cool guy, and I don't know how much he's comfortable with me sharing. But this is a Warrior Salt Systems pouch, and it's just got some baby wipes, and it looks like some MRE trash. That's embarrassing. And like my iPro or my iPro case and some stuff like that. You can see on the side here a little bit how I have it attached, but we'll get into that later. Let's see if we can turn it around here on camera, and you can see the other side without this falling off. I don't have this on an actual table. I have it on like an M16 weapon rack. Yeah. Yes. All right, and you can see on this side, I have my E-tool flipped upside down, so this doesn't get in the way of it. And another 200 round saw pouch. This has my fuel for my camp stove and a battery charger in here, which I didn't end up needing because the Army supplied it some conformable batteries that I used to charge my phone out there. It was pretty sick. Up at the top, if you don't know, the MOLLE 2 has a Claymore pouch underneath this this main over top the main compartment. Let's see if I can show you that here. But yeah, it's either a Claymore pouch or a map pouch, depending on who you ask. I have my absolutely poor flattened PC that I had to bring out there, as well as my hygiene kit and a plastic bag. Um, you know, pretty standard stuff. I'm just gonna leave these clips unpacked. If you're wondering why this bag looks so rough right now, it's because it was riding on the outside of a Bradley on the way back, and for like the last couple days of the field problem, and I had to get it packed quickly so we could get back and come home before it started snowing on us. Turning this wrong way. Oh yeah, there we go. Now, the real interesting part of it. So, as you can see, this is a Alice frame right here. Now, this is a USGI Alice frame. It is, I mean, it's standard except for the fact that I rattle canned it tan because I like the way it looked more than the green. I think it looks cool. Rust-Oleum tan is the color, like the camo tan, in case you're wondering. And then these straps are another gift from that buddy of mine who's a real life cool guy. These are the Dust Aspirations Joyride, and it consists of these shoulder straps, which have this laminate across the top, and then it's like a soft gel membrane on the inside. Same thing for this. It's like an extra pad for where the sleeve sits on the back of your shoulders. And this right here is their hip pad. This is their full Joyride, I believe it's called. And it's got a waist belt with it. Great, absolutely great set of straps. This isn't really like a review of that, more of like the system of the whole. But if you have something that is Alice strap compatible, dude, I cannot recommend these enough. They are a little spendy. If the Army would ever fix my pay situation, I probably would have just bought them outright. But huge thanks to my buddy for turning me on to Dust Aspirations. And I definitely don't have like a relationship with the company at all. I wish I was like cool and important enough for that, but I have like exchanged a couple Instagram messages with him. He seems like a cool guy, and he seems like he genuinely cares about what he does. So that's always cool. And then up here, obviously, I have an a ruck sleeve off of an old Alice pack. This one came off of a medium Alice ruck, from what I understand. This was from Paxson Creek Supply. They do military surplus as well as like some other like side projects and stuff like that. Um, uh, we followed each other on Instagram for years. He's always been a cool dude to me. I bought from him before, and he sold me like this medium Alice ruck. I told him what I was going to do with it, and all he charged me was shipping. So huge shout out to him for that. All right, so I think we've kind of hit on everything for the bag real quick. So let's go ahead and get into my experience using it, and then we'll get into why I did this instead of, buying something off the shelf. All right, so all the way back in 2018, Private Me was given a MOLLE 2 ruck in UCP, right? And I hated that piece of shit. I hated the thing so darn much. It squeaked when I used it. The first one that I had when I was at basic broke on me during the 12-mile ruck. Like the strap physically tore off of the it tore off of the plastic frame. Like it just broke right there where the straps attached to the frame. So I had to get somebody while we were rucking. We couldn't stop. I had to get somebody to. I want to say they just tied it together. They tied the bottom end of the ruck strap to the top end of the ruck strap, and it just. I want to say it was my left arm, and it was just awful. And ever since then, I hated hated the MOLLE 2 ruck. Um, when I got in, I went to air assault school, and obviously, using my issued ruck for all that, did all the rucks with that with a UCP MOLLE 2 ruck with a plastic frame on it, and it worked well enough. It was totally fine, but I still hated it. I thought it dug into me. The straps didn't fit me right. The frame didn't fit me right. I felt like it was too wide and too long. I'm not a very big guy. For reference, I'm like 5'8", 5'9" on a good day. Usually between 190 and 210 pounds. Depending on whether or not I'm bulking or what. Right now, I'm around 190. So I needed something that fit me a little bit better. Eventually, after I've been in for a couple years, I bought an Alice frame and with a large rucksack, and I started using that in my own time, doing my own stuff, like training up for rucks and stuff like that. I tried to just be better. I loved it, but I wasn't allowed to use it at the time in my unit. They saw the big green tick hanging off my back, and they would not go for it. So I I got it in my head that one day I was going to figure out how to put a MOLLE 2 ruck on an Alice frame. Now, fast forwarding, get married, start having kids. Um, I don't have a lot of money to start throwing at this stuff, uh, or a lot of extra money to start throwing at this stuff. It's more responsible to throw it at stuff like clothing for the children and stuff like that. So, um, I've already got my cheap Alice frame. I want to say the frame and the Alice bag together when I got it. It's before they got like super popular again, because I guess this stuff all goes in cycles. I got it for like $60, and then like I mentioned, I got the MOLLE 2 bag for a little bit more, and I was trying to figure out at first I was starting with just taking the attachment straps and like the compression straps for the ruck and putting it around the ruck frame, and that worked okay, but it wasn't really working its best. So eventually last year what I did was I got a ruck sleeve for it. I didn't want to mess with my Alice pack. I'm too like emotionally attached to it, so I got a donor one. I measured it. I laid the bag flat, measured it out. I took some shoe glue and I shoe glued the ruck sleeve down on the back side of it, right? So I could sew it in. And then I got myself a sewing awl, like for saddles and leather working and stuff like that. And I sewed this all by hand with a big X pattern underneath or on the bottom side of the ruck frame. And it has held up really well. I'm probably going to have to go back and repair it at some point just because that's the nature of the beast with hand stitching. Machines do so much better job, but I can't afford a super expensive machine. So aside from the straps, which were a gift, uh, I'm into this whole thing with the pouches and everything for well under $200. Now with the straps, it would be about like a 350-ish dollar ruck. I want to say it's a very expensive set of straps, but they're absolutely worth it. I can say after using them, I would 100% spend the money on them if I had them. They got great adjustment, and of course, something that you need when you're in the army, especially in a mechanized unit, is quick detach straps. These, in my experience, are uh, definitely secure enough for strapping to the outside of a Bradley and tightening it down, and that's how you hold your ruck because there isn't space in the vehicle itself for it. I think that covers. Oh yeah, let's go over the pouch setup. So it was it's been super hard to try and find good condition uh, MOLLE 2 sustainment pouches, which are, instead of coming just right here, they'd come all the way down to like where this one is for the ruck. I like them. I think they hold a lot. It's got a lot of good capacity. I want to say without it though, this ruck is like 80 some liters of capacity. It's a good size bag, right? But uh, even I think with them it's like 110 liters of capacity. It's a whole lot of bag. But even with these, it's still great. Um, I've used this on a bunch of rucks, not just strapping to a Bradley. We still ruck for PT, and every now and then we have to move the rucks by hand for training and stuff like that. But the most I've rucked with it in my own time has been, I want to say, 13 miles, like up and down some various terrain in a few hours, and then of course for the Army I've taken it for a 12-mile ruck, 45 pounds in like 2 hours and some change. Not not anything crazy. I'm not Superman over here. Just trying to make sure I uphold the infantry standard. But yeah, so that's the ruck. That's how it came to be, and that's the cost. So maybe now let's get into why I decided something like this instead of something else. Well, why on God's green earth would I spend all this time and still comparatively a little bit of money to get something like this instead of just buying something off the shelf or buying like a used pack? Well, one, most importantly, I wanted it in OCP or multicam. Um, OCP gear is a little bit cheaper than like true multicam, just because it's Army contract stuff. It's made by the lowest bidder, but it's still solid. I want to say these are made out of like 1000D uh, Condora nylon or something like that. I'm not super into like the fabrics and stuff like that, but I try to know what I'm talking about. Um, so I wanted something in OCP. I really liked the MOLLE 2 bag. I thought it was a great idea. I just thought it was lacking in execution with the frame. Um, Before I ended up doing this, I was searching for a metal frame for the MOLLE 2, but nobody was making one. I think mainly just because I was trying to save myself the effort. But it's got a drag handle on it, integrated into the pack. It's got a lot of adjustment and ability to be able to tighten it. You've got attachment points all the way around. Really the sky's the limit with the thing. I even made like a beaver tail for my helmet for my personal high cut to be able to clip onto these fast clips on it to hold my helmet right there. So I ain't got to shove it in the bag because, in my opinion, rucks look goofy when you have a helmet in them. It like makes like a weird dome. I don't think there's like a good way to put it in there. Uh, Sorry, got sidetracked there. So, you know, I wanted a metal frame because I like the MOLLE 2 bag, and I do think it's a good bag, and it's extremely rugged. I don't feel bad putting this bag on the side of a Bradley because it's so tough. I know that they're capable of handling the abuse, assuming the driver doesn't just full speed sprint or full speed like throttle down into like a freaking cactus or a mountainside or something like that, right? So it's a durable bag. It's relatively cheap for how much bag you're getting. You can see just looking at it here in frame, the top half of me, and I told you how big I am earlier, and it's just freaking huge, man. Like, how much more do you want? Now, on the market right now, getting something comparable to this, like a Mystery Ranch or I want to say Gray Ghost Precision is another one of them. Uh, there's you're looking at, or Tactical Tailor is another great example because they have the Malice, and the Malice has been a mainstay of like aftermarket packs, especially for military guys, for forever, right? And like a Malice with the full system, assuming you can get it, assuming it's not like sold out or pieced out, assuming you can get it in multicam, I want to say is like over $500, right? So this is like less than half the cost. Uh, the Gray Ghost Precision, I want to say they're at least like $400 or something like that. I hope I'm saying that right. But I'm talking about like they make like I want to say there's a 7 pocket and a 9 pocket one. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. And of course, like getting like a Mystery Ranch, like 80-liter pack, or like their Mountain Ruck, which is like an updated version of the Alice pack. Again, that's another like $500 to $800. And finding one of those used is so hard because generally the people who can afford to buy them usually end up really liking them. I love my Mystery Ranch bag that I had. So, I think this is one of those things where if you're willing to put in the work, you're getting 90% of the functionality, for like 50% of the cost, which was big for me. And of course, another huge benefit of sewing on that MOLLE or sewing on that Alice uh, ruck sleeve to a MOLLE frame is the aftermarket compatibility of Alice. So many people make Alice frames. I've dabbled with the idea of getting a Palace frame, the polymer Alice frame, but if I do that, I'll be very prepared to sell it if I don't like it. I have to have money that's like I actually don't care about what happens to it because I fully anticipate not liking that. You have other companies who are doing like crazy stuff with MOLLE frames, like I forget the name of it. I want to say it was Frontier or something, but it's like a flat, like laser cut or CNC piece of aluminum that works with a MOLLE frame. I want to say the 1606 frame for that the Marines use and the MOLLE 4K uses, which I've been issued now, and this compared to a MOLLE 4K is, I'll take this all day, every day over a MOLLE 4K. So, like aside from the weight of the Alice frame itself, in my opinion, this has no downside. And if you're really worried about the weight, you could always go with a Palace frame instead. But so as of right now, I've got probably a little bit under a full 100 miles under it. I just really wanted to get or like rucking with it. Um, in its current configuration, that is. I think overall I've had more than 100 miles with it, but I really wanted to get a video out, and if it seems a little impromptu, it definitely is. I had some free spawn in the day, so I wanted to go ahead and make it and just share this thing that I'm really proud of, that I built myself with my own 2 hands, for a fraction of the cost of the other ones. Not saying like those other bags aren't great. I'm sure they're great. I've got buddies who use like the 9 pocket bags that fit on like the tactical tailor frame. Um, I know a guy who's got a medium tactical tailor uh, on the tactical tailor frame that he loves. I even met one dude at this last field problem who has a UCP Malice ruck, and that was really cool. It was still kicking after all these years. He was like an E7 or something like that, and he liked it. So, but yeah, if you have free time on your hands and not a lot of free money, I would definitely recommend seeing if you could replicate this. I'm interested to see if anybody can do it better than me, but as of right now, I think this one right here, this baby, is the only one of its kind in existence. And that's pretty cool. It's cool to be able to share a video of something that's like actually unique. To my knowledge, no like gear YouTuber is able to talk to you about this. And maybe that's the most fun part of this for me, having something that really nobody else can talk about. But yeah, I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed listening to me gush about it and nerd out over it a little bit. And just generally, man, thank you for watching, especially if you stayed to the end. I really appreciate all 100 of you who are subscribed to me. I really, really appreciate it. And have a good one, guys. I'm not really a black powder guy, but you know, this is pretty cool. Is but yeah, is a 45 caliber black powder rifle too little or too much? I know in all the cool old movies of like frontiermen, they all have like 50 caliber Hawkins and stuff like that. I don't know. If you know anything about black powder, let me know if this is too little. Let me know if I need to beef it up.